Imagine waking up at 3 a.m., heart racing, staring at the ceiling, knowing deep down you've given everything: your youth, your energy, your best years, and the only thing waiting for you tomorrow is more of the same grind that never quite pays off. What if the entire story you've been told about hard work, loyalty, and success is the biggest lie ever sold to keep you running on the treadmill forever? That moment of quiet panic isn't weakness. It's your soul finally whispering the truth you've been too busy to hear. Stay with me till the very end, because the next 10 minutes could be the moment you stop living someone else's script and start writing your own. I've packed this with raw revelations, brutal life twists, and wisdom from Nietzsche and Jung that will make you question every overtime shift, every missed sunset, every just one more year promise, and leave you ready to break free before another decade disappears. You grew up hearing that if you just work hard enough, put in the effort day after day, follow the rules without question, keep your head down through the tough times, stay loyal to the company no matter what, and put in those extra hours even when you're running on fumes, life would pay you back big time with rewards, recognition, security, and respect. Effort was like money in the bank, something you could deposit and watch grow over time. Pain meant you were on the right track, pushing through barriers others couldn't handle. Struggling was the key to unlocking better days filled with prosperity, peace, and pride. But as the years rolled by, stacking up one after another, you kept showing up consistently, logging the time without complaint, saying yes even when you were beat down and drained, giving up your health bit by bit, your family time that you'll never get back, your sense of self that once felt vibrant and full of possibility. And what did it get you in return? Just more demands piling on your plate, more stress that never lets up, and a whole lot of quiet disappointment that creeps in during those rare still moments when the noise dies down. The promotions went to someone else who played the game differently. The raises never showed up despite your sacrifices. The folks you outworked day in and day out are now calling the shots from higher up, and the ones who figured out when to quit early, they're doing okay not because they hustled more or sacrificed deeper, but because they got something you missed. Some hidden truth nobody talks about openly. Some insight that flips the entire narrative you've been fed since childhood. The issue isn't that you didn't try hard enough or give it your all. It's the fairy tale they sold you from the start. That good stuff comes to those who grind non-stop without pause. That hard work always wins out in the end, no matter the odds. That success is just about putting in the time and outlasting everyone else. But what if that whole story was cooked up deliberately to keep you busy with endless tasks, compliant with every order, and worn out to the point of exhaustion, tricking you into thinking your pain has a point and a purpose, so you keep hurting without ever asking who really gains from it all, who benefits from your unbroken loyalty. The scam is sneaky and subtle. It doesn't kill your dreams outright in a dramatic fashion, but it chains them to a big machine that chews up your days one by one and spits out just enough hope, a small bonus here, a vague promise there, a weird family speech to keep you going forward. Hope that if you stay nice and agreeable, stay occupied with busy work, stay small and non-threatening, you'll finally get your due reward someday soon. But the setup doesn't pay off for effort or dedication. It pays off for how useful you are to the higher-ups, and that's judged not by how hard you push yourself to the limit, but by how easy you are to handle, how predictable you remain, how little trouble you cause. You gave it your all in what you thought was a fair fight with equal chances. But the game was fixed from the start with rules stacked against you. You weren't slack or clueless in any way. You were just faithful to a world that prizes quiet obedience above all else, above creativity, above real growth, above the bold risks that actually create something lasting. Was it really your screw-up that led to this point? Or were you set up to lose in their rigged setup from the very beginning? Maybe the real plan was to keep you so wiped out physically and mentally that you wouldn't even think to challenge it or look for alternatives. Quit running after their prizes that dangled just out of reach and dig deeper into the core. What if grinding isn't the fix to your problems, but opening your eyes to the illusion is the true path forward? They tell you hard work is noble and honorable, that being productive proves your worth as a person, that staying late at the office, always agreeing to extra tasks, and being the go-to guy for every crisis boosts your value in the eyes of others. But value to who, exactly? And at what hidden cost to yourself? Being lazy is like a crime in this culture. Resting makes you feel weak and unproductive. Sitting still brings on guilt that weighs heavy on your chest. But who wins when you beat yourself up for taking a break you desperately need? When your self-worth is tied to how much you burn out each day without recovery. You've mixed up pushing hard with being good and moral, feeling tired with being honorable and dedicated. Total burnout was something grand and meaningful, but there's zero glory in getting played by a system that exploits your drive while quietly discarding your humanity. Friedrich Nietzsche labeled it slave morality, a whole value system cooked up by the folks being bossed around to make obedience look virtuous. Giving in seemed like strength, and toughing it out through pain sound like the highest virtues one can achieve. It's the tricks of the powerless to shield themselves from the bold and independent. The world wants you easy to manage in every way, easy to predict your actions, easy to keep small and contained, turning your pain into something sacred and holy that you wear like a badge of honor. You're trained to just take it without complaint, not to wonder what your sweat is really for, or who it truly benefits, but to feel proud of giving everything up, as if it's a noble sacrifice. If grinding is so holy and revered, why do the people who grind the hardest end up with the least rewards, pouring out sweat day after day, but scraping by on pennies while others coast by with half the effort? The setup hands out rewards for showing up consistently and fitting in seamlessly, not for real worth or fresh ideas that disrupt the status quo following orders over thinking. New Paths, it's all about being a compliant piece in the puzzle. They need cogs in the wheel that turn without question, not folks who dream big and challenge norms. Being more handy makes you feel more alive and validated, but Nietzsche calls that taming of the spirit. The real heartbreak is not spotting how you gave up your freedom, since it dresses up as winning big. Self-control in action, big wins on the horizon. But it quietly eats away at your spirit until there's little left of the person you once were. Non-stop grinding is a sign your inner fire is forgetting who you are and what you truly want. They wanted you occupied with tasks, not climbing higher toward your potential, not questioning the very ladder you're climbing. You're not grinding just for cash to pay the bills or to get by in survival mode. You're fleeing from something deep inside, driven by fear, committed out of desperation, but scared of being worthless in society's eyes. Slack in your own judgment, or tossed aside like yesterday's news. You push to prove you're worthy of respect from others, of love from those around you, to quit saying sorry for existing, trying to patch a break that wasn't even yours to begin with, a wound from childhood or culture that never healed. Your value hangs on what you put out into the world, like you have to earn your spot in the world every single day, so pausing feels like vanishing into irrelevance. Carl Jung says everyone has a shadow. The bits you push away deep hide from view the shame that lingers, the soft spots that hurt, the ones that feel forbidden. The more you ignore them and pretend they don't exist, the more they steer you from the dark corners of your mind. You're grinding to make up for it all, showing you're not flawed because you secretly think you are at your core, turning into somebody important because no one said you're already enough just as you are. You don't crave the job itself or the title. You dread halting the motion, speeding up to dodge the quiet, not to thrive in fullness. Jung puts it, grinding without heart or purpose is dodging life itself, not chasing goals with passion. You're not alive in the moment, you're fleeing from facing yourself. Society dubs it drive and ambition, but your body screams through symptoms. Wipe out from exhaustion, cut off from relationships, breakdown of health. You don't want extra targets to hit. You want to halt the chaos, face the hidden side, the vulnerable one inside. Weary of faking strength, ready to quit the charade. Till you stare down that shadow without flinching, you'll keep trading sweat for self-worth that never sticks. No amount of overtime or accolades fills the gap that's always been there. Pay attention to the tiredness that won't go away, the quiet moments that feel empty, the void when the buzz fades and you left alone. That's your spirit, begging to return to wholeness, not a flop or failure on your part. The burnout that hits hard, the dread of easing up on the gas, the idea that more grind will fix it all. That's brainwashing from the culture, not your own mess up or shortcoming. Here's the twist that changes everything, the one that flips the script on decades of conditioning. Your body isn't broken by default, fragile and waiting to fail without constant oversight. It's not a faulty machine in perpetual need of the next upgrade, recall, or software patch. It's an ancient, intelligent, resilient system that has kept humans alive and thriving through ice ages that froze the planet, famines that starved populations, wars that decimated societies, and plagues that wiped out millions long before blood pressure cuffs existed to measure every fluctuation. Statins were invented to tweak chemistry, or wellness trackers buzzed on wrists to count steps. But the system wants you to forget that innate wisdom, that built-in resilience. It wants you to believe you're inherently fragile, incomplete without their tools, always one step away from disaster, unless you follow their protocol, buy their product, schedule their appointment. The moment you buy that, Lie internalize it. As truth you hand over your sovereignty completely. You stop living fully in your body and start managing symptoms like a full-time job. You stop trusting yourself, your hunger, your energy, your intuition, and start obeying the data, the diagnoses, the directives from on high. So how do you fight back against this massive, entrenched machine? How do you reclaim what they've convinced you to give away, piece by piece, fear by fear? It starts with one simple, dangerous question that cuts through the noise. Do I truly need this intervention, this test, this supplement, or am I being nudged by fear I never consented to feel? Question every pill pushed your way, every scan recommended, every preventive measure marketed as essential. Ask hard, ask often. Is this genuinely healing me, restoring my balance, or is it keeping me dependent on the cycle, hooked on the next fix? Next, return to what your body already knows instinctively, the basics that have sustained humanity for millennia. Sleep when you're truly tired, letting your natural rhythms guide you instead of alarms. Breathe deeply in fresh air, feeling your lungs expand without apps tracking it. Move, naturally walk, stretch, play not in rigid gym sessions, but in ways that feel joyful. Eat whole, real foods from the earth, listening to your hunger rather than calorie counters. These fundamentals don't require apps with premium upgrades, subscriptions to delivery services, or expert approval from certified professionals. They require your full presence, your undivided attention, your unwavering trust in your own signals and sensations. Finally, and this is the hardest part, the one that challenges everything society pushes, make peace with life's inherent limits, the realities we've been taught to deny. Pain exists as a teacher, not an enemy. Aging happens as a natural progression, not a flaw to erase. Death comes to us all as the ultimate equalizer, not a defeat to outsmart. The system wants you to fight these things endlessly, to see them as failures that demand more intervention, more spending. But when you accept them as integral parts of the human experience, the highs and lows, the beginnings and ends, you stop running from them in perpetual fear. You start living with them in harmony, embracing the full spectrum, and that's where real freedom begins to unfold, quiet and profound. True health was never about chasing endless optimization, tweaking every metric, buying the next solution that promises perfection. It was about living wealth with awareness of your body's needs, with dignity in the face of uncertainty, with choices that come from deep inside you, not from fear-mongering ads or marketing campaigns. The moment you stop treating health like a product you have to purchase month after month and start treating it like a principle you live by day after day, you break the cycle for good. You're no longer under their control, no longer the anxious consumer chasing shadows. You're finally, quietly, powerfully free to experience life on your terms. If you're feeling that pull right now, that quiet rage at how much power you've handed over, that spark of rebellion against the endless cycle, don't wait another minute. Start questioning today. Start trusting yourself again. Your body remembers how to be well, it's wired for it. The question is, will you let it guide you, or will you keep paying for the illusion of safety? The choice is yours. Make it count. Make it bold. Make it now.